Oh, it's like probably the...
I'd like to welcome everyone to the City of Post Falls Planning and Zoning January 10th, 2017 meeting. Will you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone to our first official meeting of 2017. We'll go ahead and do roll call.
Hampe.
Here.
Wilder.
Here.
Latham.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Keene.
Here. All right. Any amendments to the agenda this evening?
No, there is not.
No amendments. How about ceremonies, appointments, announcements, or presentation?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Amber Blanchette. She's the new administrative specialist for the planning division. We've been 4 months without an admin specialist, so it's greatly appreciated, and she's done really good since January 3rd when she started.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
I know she's only been here since the 3rd, but she already was answering every question that I had, so it's fantastic.
I was briefed on you.
Yeah, right. That happens. That happens. Any declaration of conflict this evening?
I do. The second item tonight, that Quad Park zone change, I'll just stay quiet and stay up here. I've been working with Michael Nicholas on a few concept ideas on that project. So.
Okay.
Commissioner Latham, if you have a conflict for the second item, it's probably best if you just step down
I
from
step
the...
down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Duly noted. All right, brings us to the consent calendar. Everybody have a chance to look that over and entertain a motion if so.
I would move to approve the consent calendar for December 13th, 2016 meeting as presented.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been first and seconded. Ready to vote?
Keene.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Latham.
Yes.
Wilder.
Yes.
Hampe.
Yes.
So moved. Item 8 this evening, citizen issues. This section on the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission on issues that are not on the agenda. Comments on issues that are planned for the future meetings should be held into that meeting. Is there anyone here tonight for citizen issues? None seen. We'll move on. No unfinished or old business. So I believe this takes us to the meat of the meeting, and that would be public hearing. So again, if anyone wishes to speak in favor, neutral, or against, please make sure and go to the back podium, fill out paperwork, and turn it in up front. That being said, we will go ahead and open the first public hearing, Bluegrass Pointe Subdivision, file number S-16-04. Mr. Manley, all yours.
Good evening, Chairman Davis and members of the commission. Yes, so the Bluegrass Pointe subdivision, the property owner is William Dahm, and the applicant's rep is Lake City Engineering. Their rep is present this evening. The requested action is for a recommendation of approval for a 13-lot R1 residential development on about 3.2 acres. The R1 zoning designation, that's the single-family zoning district that most houses are constructed in Post Falls. The location of this project is what you see here in the red hatched area. It's north of I-90. It's a bit east of the Pleasant View interchange, but it's directly east and adjacent to Corbin Road, and it's south of Southeast Way. In looking at the zoning of the area, you see the yellow there, that is the mentioned R1 zoning district, so it's completely surrounded by R1. The proposed density of this project is about 4 lots per acre. The water provider for this area is East Green Acres Irrigation, with the sewer being provided by the City of Post Falls. For a detailed snapshot of this proposed subdivision, these are, well, you see Terra, that's a proposed street that'll have to be discussed further and checked against Kootenai County records. It may or may not be available. I did look. It seemed like there was some similar street names as Terra, but that'll be for a future determination. Craig Avenue, that's the, that'll extend from, and there's an existing Craig Avenue to the east, so that'll extend from its current terminus to the west to Corbin Road. In looking at the proposed subdivisions, the way the code states that the approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission would be approved unless finding that the following wouldn't be true. So on the first one is that definite provisions have been made for the water supply systems that is adequate in terms of quantity and quality for this proposed subdivision. This area is served by the East Green Acres Irrigation District. Adequate provisions have been made for public sewage system, and the existing municipal systems can accommodate the proposed sewer flows. And it was determined that the city of Post Falls could accommodate this proposed subdivision. In regards to the streets, that what they're proposed is consistent with elements in the comprehensive plan, would not have a negative impact on the transportation system, but did want to have an additional note that the proposed cross sections for Terra Street and Craig Avenue, that they would be required to be 32 feet in a 60-foot right-of-way. It's parking on both sides. All areas of the proposed subdivision, which may involve soil or topographical conditions presenting hazards, have been identified. There's no areas of this been identified or such for this location. The area proposed for the subdivision is zoned for the proposed use and conforms to other requirements found in the code. When we're looking at the proposed layout here, all the lots either meet or exceed the minimum lot standard size requirement for an R1 lot. And the last one really regards to adequate plans for the community not bearing any unfair costs. That's handled with impact fees, and with the subdivisions and with development, you get the impact fees at paid at time of permits with the house. That we get public safety, parks, and streets paid with, those are elements of the impact fees. Much of this has been stated except for it's been intended to be developed in one phase. This project would be considered an infill project. It's not like what you've seen before potentially is like with annexations, you still get annexations in an infill pocket area that's county surrounded by city. This is an area that is undeveloped, surrounded by more urban type elements, so it lends itself to infill within the community. Idaho Department of Lands commented, and they would not impact any of their ideal Idaho Department of Lands programs. And Kootenai County Fire stated they would approve as presented. That kind of is it for the staff report. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
I just have a, I actually do have a conflict of interest. So should I step down?
Yes.
I didn't catch it earlier. Okay.
Okay. Lauren, any questions? No?
Nope, none here.
Okay.
No.
All right, I believe we're good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Applicant.
Good evening, Chairman Davis, fellow commissioners. Drew Dittman, Lake City Engineering, 3909 North Schreiber Way, Suite Number 4, City of Coeur d'Alene. Here tonight representing Bill Dom and Brian Rush, Bluegrass Pointe. So there's the overview map. As you can see, it's located on Corbin Road, which would be, this is Corbin Road here. So it's this piece highlighted in yellow, as John had shown on his map. Again, copy of the zoning map that John had showed earlier. You can see we're surrounded completely by R1 zoning. So what we've got proposed is about 4 lots per acre. It's about a 3-acre site. We've got 13 residential lots on it. It's kind of a goofy shaped piece. But Craig Avenue basically goes straight through to Corbin Road from the existing Craig Avenue where it's stubbed out in the Don's Place subdivision over here. And then we've got a stub street provided to the property to the south. Sewer and water is available. As John had said, water's East Green Acres Irrigation District. As a matter of fact, we're headed there tonight from here. We've got to present in front of their board tonight, so we'll get their approval hopefully tonight as well and move forward. So I think it's a very straightforward subdivision. Like John said, it's an infill subdivision more or less. So any questions for me?
Any questions? No?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Do we have any public comment?
Just Mr. Dittman.
Just Mr. Dittman. In favor, I'm assuming? Okay, fantastic, duly noted. All right. Nancy, any questions for anyone?
No.
No, okay. We'll go ahead and close it out. Any comment? Start with you, sir.
No, I think it's a good project with infill, and it meets all of the R1 residential activity around it, and I think it's be a great fit.
Okay. Sir?
Yeah, I'll jump in. It's a good layout. I like the continuity of that rather than a cul-de-sac. And I know some people complain about that with more traffic coming through their existing neighborhood, but that, I think in the long run, that always works better. And I'm glad to see that narrow strip, that flag lot strip to the west works fine for a road section and all of that. So it's a good access in there. As long as the neighbors to the north and south aren't adverse to it and it doesn't sound like anybody's here. Don't have a problem with it.
Nancy, anything to add?
No, I think it's a good fit.
Okay, I would agree, and at this time would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the Bluegrass Pointe subdivision file number S-16-04 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Hampi,
Yes.
Latham,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Keen.
Yes.
So moved. Okay, before we open up the last public hearing, Mr. Latham, I'll let you step down and Mr. Wilder come back up. All right, so we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on Quad Park Court Zone Change, file number ZC-16-02. Mr. Manley to present.
Yes, so the owner of this proposal is the South Hayden Investments LLC. The applicant's rep is Mike Nicholas. They're present this evening. The requested action is to review a proposed zone change from a limited commercial zoning to a community commercial services zoning designation. What a limited commercial is, and the intent of that is generally it's when you're not on a major arterial, you have maybe a node. I mean, it could be on a major arterial, but it's on a node. It's separate from the central core, and so you provide some neighborhood type commercial amenities. Rather, the community commercial services designation is generally applied in areas where you'd have a through commercial corridor, like along Celtice Way or Mullen Avenue, where you have commercial services complementing each other. So, in looking at the proposed location for this project, you have Cecil Road and you have Mullen Avenue at this location here, just north of I-90 and west of Highway 41. And you look at the current zoning in this area, you see adjacent to the north is the R3 zoning designation with some medium density R2 zoning designation there in brown. On the west side of the road you see some CCS, and directly south you see that there in pink, that's that limited commercial zone. Typically in this area, what you would see is similar to what you see on the west side of the road, is some CCS commercial zoning next to and adjacent to a commercial corridor. The project size is approximately 3.8 acres. The water provider for this is the Ross Point Water District, with sewer being provided by the City of Post Falls. In review of this proposal and with zone changes, you look at the goals and policies as well as the future land use map. We found that it was consistent to the goals and policies, and it was consistent with elements within the future land use map. I'll go back to this area right here. On the future land use map, it's designated, and the reason why it's stated as elements is it's designated as yellow residential, but there's an overlay district that says it's also compatible for commercial mixed uses. So it's compatible with that overlay district within that future land use map. It's also compatible with the adjoining street classifications, with Cecil Road being a major collector, with the minor arterial Mullen Avenue just due south. And looking at the zone change review criteria, there's some criteria here. That's what you would base the proposal on. If it's consistent with this criteria, then the recommendation for approval would follow suit. Zoning is assigned following considerations such as items of street classifications, traffic patterns, existing development, future land uses, community plans, and geographic or natural features. So in reviewing this proposal, it's compatible with the street classifications, as well as the traffic patterns and existing development. You look just directly south, you see center targets, you see some other bank type developments, and it's right in the general vicinity to the south. You look at, we don't have any really community plans for this area or geographic natural features. And looking at the future land use though, when you go back to that map, this being residential and a zone, odds are the future land use for that will be some sort of apartments being multifamily, and a commercial next to multifamily as it transitions from Mullen Avenue to the north would be considered consistent with that goals and policy element of the planning analysis. Commercial and high-density residential zoning is typically assigned along streets with higher road classifications, and it would be true in this case. The intersection of East Quad Park Court and Cecil Road is located just 1/10 of a mile north of the Mullen Avenue Cecil Road intersection. And Cecil Road, that happens to also be identified as the backage road. The Highway 41 corridor has what's considered the half-mile backage roads. There's Cecil Road to on the west side of Highway 41. Then on the east side of the road, it's Zoros. And so the point of that is to help complement and reduce long-term congestion on Highway 41. Frontage improvements at the site are in place, and they conform to the current standards. And then the signal operations of both on the Cecil Road and Mullen Avenue, improvements are scheduled for fiscal year 2017. And then on the zone change review criteria, that limited or neighborhood commercial and lower density residential is typically assigned for properties as they proceed farther away from the higher intense urban activity. So in my intro, when I was talking about neighborhood commercial, that's kind of what I was alluding to is on this point, I wouldn't consider this area further away from urban activity. Industrial zoning is typically assigned for properties with sufficient access to major transportation routes. This policy point really isn't pertinent since we're not considering industrial zoning. In regards to the water reclamation, there's capacity and capability to serve the proposed zone change. We did not hear from other city departments regarding this matter. And Kootenai County Fire and Rescue commented that they would approve as submitted. That kind of concludes staff's report. Any additional questions with what was presented?
Any questions? Nancy? No?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right. Move to applicant report. If you could be so kind, state your name and address.
Name is Doug Hansen with HMH Engineering, and we're at 1302 West Hayden Avenue in Hayden, Idaho. Just going back to the report, pretty great report, and it's pretty comprehensive. We just wanted to hit home on that, the city, as they describe in their comprehensive plan, desire to expand the economic growth of the city by encouraging off-corridor circulation for commercial development and limited access points to arterial streets. We're hoping to, hoping to help by changing the zone. Right now, currently, I don't know if you guys have been out there, but those lots are pretty much undeveloped. We've got one building out there, and it's just kind of been sitting. So we feel that we can change the zone and get something moving. So, we just would like to have approval. So that's it. Thanks. Any questions?
No.
Questions for applicant? No? All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
Just the applicant.
Applicant, does the applicant wish to speak again, or are we good? All right, we're good. Okay. Duly noted, then, nothing else being said, we'll go ahead and close out the public hearing on the Quad Park zone change. Nancy, I'll start down with you. Any final thoughts, or?
I think it's a good fit, and I think changing it to community commercial services certainly could help get a little more activity there, and that's what we'd like to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that community commercials, I can't say a better fit, but I think it's an adequate fit, and I think it'll work well there.
Yeah. I agree. I think it gives a few more options to the landowner to develop it and fit in with the neighborhood.
Absolutely. No, that flexibility is good, and it'll be nice to see something there. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I would move that we approve the Quad Park Court zoning changes, file number ZC 16-02.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Call for a vote.
Hampi,
Yes.
Wilder,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Keene,
Yes.
So moved. Item number 11 on the agenda this evening, new business. Do we have any new business at all?
No, there is not.
No new business. Staff comments.
None there either.
Commissioner comments. Mr. Latham, welcome back. Any comments?
No
Good in the order,
comments.
anyone?
Nope. All's good.
Okay. With that being said, move to adjourn.
I would move to adjourn.
All right. Be safe on the roads.